starts right now.
It is a big mess at a busy intersection, and the people deputies say are responsible are missing. The confrontation, they say, led to the crash. And a standoff with police in a South Side neighborhood. Why police say they went after the suspect and the moment they tried to subdue him, all caught on camera.
I'm a disabled vet on a walker, have no way getting home.
But just days after his car was towed, he was left stranded in the dark. Things are very different for that disabled veteran now. It is an update to a story we first told you about last week. The man's vehicle was towed from this handicapped parking spot at a laundromat. One he says he'd parked in many times before. Many KSAT viewers reached out to help, but as night team's Patty Santos explains, the parking problem is being resolved.
This is how KSAT found Patrick Winters last week, stranded.
Because I have stiff person syndrome, which is a very rare autoimmune disease, it's hard for me to walk any distance.
Bear Cresswell's towed his car from a handicap zone. The disabled veteran did not have the now state-required handicap plates, only the traditional DV plates. At the time, he didn't know the law had changed in 2022.
Our hands are tied on this end, there's nothing that we can do.
But he was pretty upset that his pleas to the towing company fell on deaf ears that night.
I called him twice. I'm a disabled vet on a walker, have no way getting home, and I need you guys to do this. And she said she just could not do that.
The next day, his calls and our continued calls to the owners were not returned. 5 days later, the owners are personally handing Winters his car back, along with an apology.
We wanted to make sure and do the right thing, because that's all we're about.
Winters was told a new tow truck driver misunderstood the company policy and made a mistake by towing a vehicle with disabled veteran plates. To make sure it doesn't happen again, they're helping him upgrade his plates according to state law.
We actually put the paperwork together for you so that you can get your plates and stuff like that.
Totally grateful for what they've done today.
The company is also throwing in a washer and dryer for his home.
I won't be spending any more nights at the Washatarian. Won't have to worry about parking in the wrong place.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
New on the Nightbeat, the search is on for 3 men and a woman who Bexar County deputies say caused this mess. They say this all started after they robbed a man at gunpoint around 4:30 today at a Circle K near Foster Road and Ben Zingelman Road. The group fled the scene in a stolen car, but investigators believe they realized they left something behind and began chasing the victim in his car, firing shots. That chase ended in a crash involving an 18-wheeler near Farm Road 78 and Woodluck Parkway. The suspects took off on foot. No one was hurt in the robbery or the crash. Also new on the Nightbeat, police responding to a shooting on the west side just a short time ago. It happened on Bandera Road, not far from Culebra. That's where police say a man and a woman were in a vehicle when they started arguing, and that led to the woman shooting the man in the leg. He is in the hospital. He's okay. The woman could be facing an assault charge, though. A warning before this next story. Some may find the video disturbing. Officers shoot and injure a man they say pointed a gun at them. The tense situation unfolded in a South Side neighborhood near New Sulphur Springs Road and Loop 410. Here is the night team's Jonathan Cotto.
My wife has been held up inside our mobile home since 1:30 today with a gun prepared for all hell to break loose.
Residents on high alert as a police standoff turned shooting unfolded in this Southeast Side neighborhood. San Antonio police say the suspect in the silver car you see here had an active felony warrant for domestic violence. Officers say he took off when they tried to stop him.
The officers attempted to stop him. He fled down South Cross. He's down there about probably close to a half mile. He had a gun.
Sky 12 flew over the scene on South Cross Ranch Road, just east of Loop 410. That's where police say the suspect held a gun to his own head and pointed it toward officers, leading them to open fire. One neighbor says the incident is nothing out of the ordinary here.
It happens all the time. The apartments, the mobile home park that's at the very end, all hell breaks down there on almost a daily basis. There's gunfire.
The chief says a woman was in the car at one point, but she was able to get out. SAPD has not identified the woman or the suspect, a man believed to be in his 40s. He was taken into custody and to the hospital. Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
SAPD still in the preliminary stages of their investigation. Its leadership will review body cam footage. Remember, department policy calls for video of police shootings to be released within 30 days.
It was a nice day around San Antonio, really, for us. We got up to 70 degrees, a little on the cool side, and clouds definitely built in the latter half of the day. And even across areas out to the west, it was only 67 in Uvalde, 67 in Kerrville, cooler than average. But we have got a jam-packed forecast as we go through the rest of spring break and into the weekend. It is going to be nice tomorrow. Soak up the nicer weather tomorrow. We'll be looking at highs in the low 70s because we do have a chance for storms on Thursday night, some of which could be strong or severe. I'll detail that severe threat in a bit here in the full forecast, but behind those storms, cold air rushes in and we'll have a 40-degree temperature drop basically from Thursday through Friday, and that cold air is going to stick with us through the weekend. A lot to unpack in the forecast details coming up soon. David.
We will look forward to those details. Thank you, Sarah. A Texas federal judge holding a hearing tomorrow on the biggest abortion-related case since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last year. The issue, medication abortion. Anti-abortion advocates sued the FDA over medication used in that process. The lawsuit is seeking several actions, including an injunction ordering the FDA to drop its approval of the drug. That would essentially block its use nationwide, at least temporarily. Reproductive rights advocates who are in favor of the medication say if the judge sides with the plaintiffs, it would eliminate the most commonly used method of abortion care. Both sides will have an opportunity to present their arguments tomorrow. Today, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration authorized Pfizer's Omicron booster shot for kids under 5 years old who were previously vaccinated with 3 doses of the company's original vaccine. Children 6 months through 4 years old who completed their 3-dose primary series with Pfizer and BioNTech's original monovalent shots more than 2 months ago can now receive a single booster dose of the updated shot. President Biden is calling for better laws to curb gun violence. That came during his trip to Monterey Park, California, where 11 people were killed, 9 others injured when a gunman opened fire at a dance studio at the end of January.
Ban assault weapons. Ban them again. Do it now. Enough. Do something. Do something big.
The president laid out a new executive order that directs the attorney general to make sure background checks are being enforced. It also promotes safe storage of firearms. But Biden also admitted his power as president is limited on the matter and called on Congress to enact more meaningful change. Now for a look at some of today's big headlines in your Nightbeat news flash. A 14-year-old teen who Dallas police say stole a horse is dead after getting into a crash. 2 other teens involved are also hurt. This all started today when officers say a car hit the 3 teens while they were riding on the stolen horses. All 3 were taken to the hospital where the 14-year-old later died. As for the horses, 1 died, another was euthanized at that scene, and a 3rd horse was injured but is expected to survive. 7 people are facing charges after this IRS says they scammed more than $100 million from the stolen identities of accountants and taxpayers. They allegedly filed at least 371 false tax returns from 2018 to 2021. Allegedly, the group used stolen information to change the addresses of the stolen identities to collect the tax return money. They would then put the money on prepaid debit cards and use money orders from grocery stores at low amounts to pay for items. They all face several charges of fraud and up to 50 years in prison. Applications for the Texas Rent Relief Program now open for those who are struggling to pay rent. The Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs reopened those applications today. People applying for the first time may be eligible for up to 18 months of rent and utility help. If you applied in the past and didn't get the full 18 months, you can resubmit an additional funding request. And you can scan the QR code there on your screen to get more information on KSAT.com. The deadline to apply for is assistance is March 28th. To apply, visit TexasRentRelief.com or call 1-833-989-7368. Again, that information is on our website as well. And that's a look at your Nightbeat News Flash. The stars are shining bright for the 37th annual South by Southwest Film Festival in Austin. Our crew RJ Marquez and Andrew Wilson got a glimpse into Hollywood after being on the red carpet for one this year's big premieres, a movie called Problemista. They also got a chance to speak with a local writer and a director who is debuting his short film this year. You can read more about it right now on KSAT.com. And a reminder, don't forget to check out our live streams from South by Southwest on our KSAT YouTube page. Still ahead on the night beat, Lotto fever is heating up. The top prize for Lotto Texas is at its highest it has been in more than a decade. And also just ahead, still a lot of questions following the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, including are taxpayers the ones who will have to cover for the failure? That answer and more coming up on the Night Beat.
From forgetting appointments to losing your train of thought, when it comes to memory issues, there are some classic signs you need to look out for.
I have issues with my memory.
Recalling names became more and more difficult over time.
But not all problems are irreversible. Tomorrow in GMSA, some small lifestyle changes that can have a big impact on saving your memories.
The investigation into the Silicon Valley Bank collapse now underway. The U.S. Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission will look at what led up to the bank's failure last week. The investigations are common after the crash of a large bank or company. President Biden says taxpayers will not cover those losses. Instead, the money will come from the FDIC's Deposit Insurance Fund. That is funded by fees on banks and bank investment earnings. At least two San Antonio businesses used Silicon Valley Bank. The CEO of Plus One Robotics says his company had $50 million from a recent fundraising effort and most of its operational funds in the bank. That includes payroll for its more than 80 employees, with checks due this Friday.
Had they not made their resolution on Sunday night, and we were still in that situation today, we'd have to find some other way to make payroll.
Payroll for SecureLogix is also tied up with SVB. Its funds were temporarily frozen, but the company's CEO says everything was, quote, okay as of today. Meanwhile, both companies say they plan to diversify their banking. The top prize for Lotto Texas is growing. In fact, it is now sitting at the biggest jackpot in more than 12 years after 76 drawings without a winner. The current estimated jackpot for the drawing on Wednesday, $53.5 million, with an estimated cash value of $33.1 million. It's the largest Lotto Texas prize up for grabs since the May 29th, 2010 drawing, when that jackpot reached an estimated $97 million. Ooh. What you could do with a few dollars in your pocket from there.
Wow.
You could own the helicopter that's flying over downtown right now.
Probably. And we were just thinking about it. Friendship Torch there, 20 years.
About 20 years, yeah.
Built in 2002. Wow.
A lot of friendship here in San Antonio.
A lot of friendship. Absolutely. While it's quiet here, you know, in Texas, you can see, look at that, David.
Ooh. I don't want to be doing that. That looks like rough work.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Snow.
The Northeast is dealing with a nor'easter, and then that's flooding there out in California. They're getting a little bit too much of a good thing. So both of those coasts are getting hit hard right now. And the thing is that we're kind of stuck in the middle here.
We're going to get a little taste of a little something, though, here in the next few days, aren't we?
We are. In fact, I've got a look at the map behind me here over California. Let's go ahead and take it widescreen, and you can see a better view of that. California continuing to get a lot of rain. We could use some of that rain, but we will be seeing cold weather as well as a result of that. Let's go ahead and take a look, though, at tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be one of those quiet days for us. Really not anything majorly inclement tomorrow. There might be a few sprinkles early in the morning. This is a snapshot at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Mostly cloudy skies for us for most of the day, and it'll warm up into the 70s in the afternoon. Again, we're going to have plenty of cloud cover, a lot like today. We'll have that tomorrow too. So let me take you through the KSAT 12-hour forecast. Temperatures in the low 50s early tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy, a stray shower possible. Around noon we'll be at 62 and then 72 for the high tomorrow. So tomorrow's a great day to get outside, enjoy some time outdoors, because things are going to start to change on Thursday. Here's a look at the Futurecast snapshot, 5 a.m. on Thursday. About a 30% chance for some showers in the morning. There will be some of those showers for your early morning commute if you have to go to work on Thursday. The thing is, though, is that we will see some sun on Thursday in the afternoon. It's going to end up being a warm day, but then a very strong cold front is going to be moving through Texas on Thursday. With it, the risk for some severe weather up near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And that front will be making it to San Antonio and the Hill Country right around midnight. So Thursday night into Friday, there's going to be a squall line of storms moving through along that front, very fast moving quickly through San Antonio, but bringing rumbles of thunder, perhaps even some damaging wind gusts as well. We are under a scattered risk for severe weather. Again, with squall lines, the biggest risk is gusty winds of up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. We'll be watching that carefully. We'll be tracking those storms for you Thursday night into Friday. Make sure you have the KSAT Weather Authority app handy too, in case you don't have access to your television. And then again, scattered thunderstorms possible all the way up to Dallas, Shreveport, out to Houston and Texarkana. Severe weather will be a threat for Texas. And then the big impact behind that front is how cold it will become in the last few days of winter. Spring officially starts on Monday. We'll be looking at highs only in the 40s and in the 50s. And that's because another shot of cold air will be coming our way. So that by Sunday and Monday, we're going to have some rain as well. Cold rain in San Antonio is forecast on Sunday. There could even be a couple of wet snowflakes up in parts of the Hill Country. All of us are going to be above freezing though, so there will not be any ice impacts. You don't even need to worry about covering up any of that sensitive vegetation. Rain could continue on Monday as well. So let's recap everything. Here's your weather need to know. Thursday night, a quick line of storms will be moving through. Plan for that. Friday through Monday, it will be cold and windy on Friday. We'll have wind chill values on Friday in the 30s. It could potentially be damp on Sunday and Monday. That's what you should plan for. What we'll be watching for is Thursday night. There could be a severe thunderstorm wind gust when that front moves through, capable of 70-mile-per-hour winds. And then on Sunday and Monday, it will be damp here in San Antonio with cold rain. We'll be watching for a few Hill Country flakes. There would be no impacts. It would just be a gee whiz wow factor. It's the middle of March and we're seeing some of that in the Hill Country. That would be incredible. So again, a big drop in temperatures for us. Enjoy the day tomorrow. And on Thursday we'll be up to near 80, but then again it gets pretty cold behind that front. We need the rain though, so even though it's cold rain, we're going to get something, which is good.
There's nothing wrong with the gee whiz wow factor every now and then.
As long as it doesn't mess with that spring planting, which we don't anticipate it will
That's
do.
true. Speaking of a gee whiz wow factor, Spurs having a rough season, but man, they are scratching and clawing all the way to the bitter end, aren't they?
And tonight they did it with the three-point shot. They shot over 50% from the field against the Orlando Magic. In fact, the Spurs set a franchise record for threes made in their win tonight. And speaking of winning, the Islanders are moving on. We got it for you coming up.
Hey, you worked your tails off, man. You deserve this. Now go shock the world and beat out.
That's TAM UCC head coach Steve Lutz inside the Islanders' winning locker room. His team is still dancing in big board sports. Spurs hosting the Magic at the AT&T Center tonight. Keldon, Malachi, Romeo, and Trey did not suit up for one reason or another. First quarter, Jeremy Sohan grabs a defensive rebound, then races back for the slam dunk, and the Spurs' first lead of the game, 11-8, part of a Spurs 9-0 run and timeout Magic. Later on, more Sohan, this time from three-point land, and the Spurs lead 26-17. Then after the first quarter was over with, Blake Wesley wasn't looking. He takes the ball right to the side of the face. Keita Bates D up with that pass. He's okay. Spurs led 38-29 after one. Second quarter, Charles Bassey bounced past the Blake Wesley for a slam dunk that Bol can't stop. Speaking of Bol, the 7'2" center passes the ball behind his back to Cole Anthony for three, and the Spurs lead is down to 5, but SA led 67-61 at halftime. Third frame now, Spurs are clicking from beyond the arc. Devin Vassell shoots and drains a three good. A little bit later, Sohan is good from downtown as well, and the Spurs lead big 91-60 74. They made 7 of 11 threes to lead 98-89 heading into the fourth quarter. Cue up KBD for another triple, and it's good for a new Spurs franchise record for threes made in a single game at 21. They hit 22 total threes, and the Spurs rolled the Magic 132-114.
Zach and Jeremy were outstanding. They were special tonight. If you make 22 threes, you're going to have a pretty damn good night. That's just the way the rules are. We don't do that very often, but we did it tonight, and it was fun to watch. More importantly, we had 39 assists, which is really fantastic. So all in all, it was a good night for the boys.
Spurs will get back after it tomorrow night when they host the Mavericks at 7:30. The Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islander men's basketball team tweeted this video earlier today saying 2 hours till tip. The clip shows head coach Steve Lutz walking through the team hotel and greeting fans on his way out to the team bus before heading over to the UD Arena in Dayton, Ohio, where his guys tipped off the NCAA men's tournament tonight with a first 4 matchup against Southeast Missouri State, and the Islanders take the game 75-71, opening up the men's tournament with the first 4 victories. Senior guard and Wagner alum Jalen Jackson led the Islanders at 22 points, making 14 of 18 free throws. TAM UCC will play number 1 overall seed Alabama in Birmingham on Thursday in the first round. In the Midwest region, the 7-seeded Aggies of Texas A&M will hoop it up with number 10 seed Penn State on Thursday in the first full day of men's action. Aggies head coach Buzz Williams will be taking his 3rd different team to the NCAA tournament. He also took Marquette and Virginia Tech, and he advanced to the Elite 8 in the 2012-13 season. Buzz, who was named the SEC Co-Coach of the Year, has the Aggies back in the tourney for the first time since 2018. He's thrilled, of course, that his team made the field, but he's not necessarily a fan of how much longer the March Madness games take to play.
I think you have to be efficient with your words, but it can't be too wordy. But you have to figure out a way to be engaged during all of those breaks. I think each break's 2.5 minutes. That's when the horn sounds, which means it's 3 minutes before the ball's back in play. And 3 minutes in real time, when you're win or go home, I think that kind of wears on you.
Penn State and Texas A&M will play Thursday night at 8:55 from the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. And A&M is favored by 3.5 points. The Dallas Cowboys traded for a Pro Bowl corner after the break. The Dallas Cowboys made a trade with the Indianapolis Colts for 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore in exchange for a 2023 5th-round draft pick. Gilmore had 66 tackles and 2 interceptions in 16 games for the Colts last season. He's 32 years old and was drafted with the 10th overall pick by the Bills in the 2012 NFL Draft. The Cowboys also agreed the terms to keep free agent linebacker Leighton Vander Esch to a reported 2-year deal worth $11 million. And they're also bringing back safety Donovan Wilson, their leading tackler from last season. Wilson agreed to a 3-year deal worth $24 million, with the first 2 years fully guaranteed. And Dallas free agent wide receiver Noah Brown has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. He's coming off his best NFL season with 43 catches for 555 yards and 3 touchdowns. Noah is 27 years old and was drafted in the 7th round by the Cowboys in 2017. The Texans also made a trade with the Buccaneers for veteran guard Shaq Mason. The deal will include the team's flipping late-round draft pick, and the Texans agreed to terms with veteran wide receiver Robert Woods, a reported 2-year deal worth up to $17 million.
Both teams trying to do something.
Yep.
Texas need to do more than
They really need to do a lot.
Thanks, Larry. We'll be right back. $4 million. That's how much a pair of Michael Jordan shoes are expected to go for at auction. That's because this particular pair of shoes, worn by Michael Jordan during Game 2 of the 1998 NBA Championship Series. It was his final season with the Chicago Bulls, commonly referred to as the Last Dance.
Wow.
$4 million for that pair of shoes. At least he signed them for you.
David has a pair of Sean Elliott's shoes.
I do. Not worth $4 million, I don't think.